And welcome back to my program. I talked to a friend of mine last week saying, what are you going to do? You're going to get away during the month of August. It's so hot. I usually wear a sport coat when I'm doing my shows. Look, I'm in short sleeve shirts and sweating as I do it. So hot all over America, not just down in the deepest of the deep southern states in Louisiana, where it's not only right at 100 degrees, but 100% humidity, but it's hot in New York City. It's hot out in California. Everywhere you go, the temperatures are so high. And what's about to happen? Kids are going back to school. Why on earth are kids going to school in August? August is not the time to go to school. When I was in school, when most of you were in school, school went from Labor Day until the end of May. Then kids could take off for the summer. They could get a summer job. A lot of them could work in resorts where they could make some extra money while other families are vacationing. August is the time to get away for the final fling before after Labor Day school starts. What happened to it? Why the change? It's terrible. First of all, most schools in many parts of the country are not air conditioned. If they are, they're running a huge air conditioning bill because it is so hot. It costs a lot more money to go to school in August, number one. And number two, it just doesn't make any sense. Let the kids have a chance to get away and enjoy themselves. And it's just a rant of mine. I don't know why schools are starting August 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Wait till September. What's the big rush? Then they shut down about the first week in May. Let's go like we always have from June till 1st of September. That's when the kids ought to go to school. Here's another rant I've got. What happened to summer vacations? Nobody goes on summer vacations anymore. If they do, it's a weekend. They don't get away for a couple of weeks like you and I did with the family. It's good for us as adults. It's great for the kids. And then, we've got to go to Disney World. We've got to go to some places to keep us all occupied. Most of my memories of my children, I've got 4 kids, and particularly my 3 daughters, early in the 60s and the 70s, we looked forward to getting away and going to the beach. We went out to the beach, Gulf Shores, Alabama, right on the Florida-Alabama line. Had a little family beach house down there. No high rises, nothing above 1 story. There was no 2-story buildings down there. Everything was just 1 story. You went away for a couple of weeks. And what was so marvelous about my memories of a summer vacation? When we went down to the beach, they didn't have any air conditioning. There was no telephone. We didn't have any television sets. We just had to sit, and there was no putt-putt golf close at hand. There was no Water World. There were no movies. You had to drive 20 miles to find a grocery store. So we just kind of made do on the beach. Were we bored? Oh, some people said, my gosh, you must have been bored to death. No, we weren't bored. We curled up with a good book and read, took long afternoon summer naps. We went crabbing, got our crabs to fix for a crab boil in the evening. We made sand castles in the sand. We swam. We got an occasional boat and did some boat rides along the Gulf. And you know what happened? When the 2 weeks was up and it was time to go back home, nobody wanted to leave. They were having such a great time. Interacting with each other, getting to know each other, not sitting here, I don't have my phone right here, but taking your phone and beeping. I mean, the absurd stories I see of going into some of these resort areas or to restaurants where I happen to live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and 3 people come in and here's what they're doing the whole time, or they're on the cell phone. Don't interact, no conversation, no nothing like that. I think that's undermining the American spirit. You talk about America being exceptional, all the countries of the world catching up with us. I think the fact that we're not creative, we don't deal with one another quite as much. All these kids are computer literate, oh, so bright and so much brighter. They're going to improve their situation over you and I. I don't find any great books being written in America today. Nothing like authors that back in the 20s and the 30s. You don't have any Hemingways and Fitzgeralds and Faulkners in America today. There's not a lot of good writing going on. The art, have you seen the art in New York galleries? Pick up the New York Times, look at all the galleries going on. All that, the kind of art being painted today or created today, to me, is not nearly as nice as you see if you come down to New Orleans and see the artists there on Jackson Square. I happen to have a place on Jackson Square where I spend weekends, and all the wonderful artists that are there, the unbelievable artists that you have all over the state of Louisiana and in the South. Got a guy named Don Senconi who lives up in Monroe, Louisiana. You never heard of him, have you? Never heard of him. Wonderful oil painter. I went to the Champs-Élysées in Paris a few years back and saw Synconia selling for $50,000. But so we don't have that kind of talent today that we did some years back. So yes, we've got some bright kids. They are computer literate, but as far as being creative, I just don't see it, quite frankly. I think we're making a mistake. And to be creative, you've got to have some downtime, and that's one of the nice things about vacation. Interaction, talking about your hopes and dreams, your views with your family, with your friends. That's all part of the creative flow that lets you focus in terms of what you want to do with the rest of your life. So I just think it all ties into not taking summer vacations, cutting down on the time you can get away. Once you get into September, it's football season. I understand that's why August was such a great vacation month, my favorite vacation month of the year. So just for what it's worth, I'm disappointed that schools are about to start next week, and we'll pass up the summer vacations, and then we'll take a couple of days here and there. I think we're losers because of it. Am I taking? Yes, I'm taking a summer vacation. I've taken several of them this summer. Getting ready to leave next week with my son. We're flying out to Portland, Oregon, meeting my daughter who's out that way. I've got a granddaughter out that way and a brand new grandson I've ever seen before because he just was recently born, heading out that way to have a great time on the Pacific Ocean, an area in the northern part of this country that I've never been to before, and just tuning out and getting to know my kids again, having a great time with the grandkids. That's what we ought to do in the summertime, not think about going to school in August. Just my thoughts. I'll tone my rant down, and I'll be right back.